Good day, my BA 25 students. We are now ready to discuss our Unit 9, which is our compensation and benefits. This unit discusses the nature of compensation as an important factor affecting how and why people choose to work at one organization over others. Today, employers must reasonably competitive with the several types of compensation in order to hire, keep, and reward the performance of individuals in the organization. To introduce the overview of compensation from the employer's point of view, the pay is a powerful tool for meeting the organization's goal. Pay has a large impact on employee attitudes and behaviors. It influences which kind of employees are attracted to and remain with the organization. By rewarding certain behaviors, it can align employees' interests with the organization's goals. Each employees care about policies affecting earnings because the policies affect the employee's income and standard of living. It is doubtful, however, whether any of us would continue working were it not for the money we earn. Pay, therefore, is a major consideration in human resource management because it provides employees with a tangible reward for their services as well as a resource of motivation. Besides the level of pay, employees care about the fairness of pay compared to what others earn. Also, employees consider pay a sign of status and success. They attach great importance to pay decisions when they evaluate their relationship with their employer. For these reasons, organizations must carefully manage and communicate decisions about pay. At the same time, pay is a major cost. Its shares total cost varies widely from industry or company to another. Let us now discuss the meaning of compensation. So, what is in your mind when you hear the word compensation? So, compensation is the equivalent in any form that is given to individuals for his work. Compensation is the set of rewards and organizations provide to individuals in return for their willingness to perform various jobs and tasks within the organization. It is all forms of financial returns and tangible services and benefits employees receive as part of their employment relationship. So that is another definition of compensation. So it could be monetary and non-monetary rewards given to the employees in return for their work done for the organization. So the compensation is in the form of salaries and either wages. So to employers, a sound wage and salary administration can help them systematically plan for and control their labor costs. So in dealing with a trade union, they can explain the basis of their wage program because it is based on a systematic analysis of job and wage facts. A wage and salary administration reduces the likelihood of friction and grievances over wage inequities. It enhances an employee's morale, at the same time motivate them because adequate and fair administered wages are basis or basic to these wants and needs. It attracts qualified employees by ensuring adequate payment for all the job. So let us now look into the suggestions of patent. So this is according to patent that in compensation policy, there are 7 criteria for effective compensation as you can see on the screen. So compensation should be adequate, yun yung una. So to tell it adequate, we need to meet the needs of the employees and to acquire and retain qualified personnel. Compensation also should be equitable, meaning each person should be paid fairly in line with his effort, abilities, and training. So, kung ano yung binigay mong effort, ano yung nakita mong ability, dapat it should be commensurate. Kaya sa compensation. Compensation also should be balanced. This means that pay benefits and other rewards should provide a reasonable total reward package. Compensation also should be cost effective, taking into consideration the company's ability to pay. Another, compensation should be secure. The pay should be enough to help an employee feel secure and aid him in satisfying their basic needs. Another one, compensation should be incentive providing. Pay should motivate effective and productive work or reward desired behavior. Of course, compensation should be acceptable to the employees. The employee should understand the payment system being followed by the company and should feel it is reasonable for the organization and for him. And last, compensation should comply with legal regulation. And so that is important. So those are the 7 criteria for effective compensation. So let us now discuss the two compensation philosophy. So when we have compensation philosophy, we are looking into two. So we have entitlement and performance orientation. So let us take a look one of each. Okay, so the first thing or the first philosophy is your entitlement philosophy orientation or entitlement orientation. Your entitlement philosophy can be seen in many organizations that traditionally have given automatic increases to their employees every year. Further, most of these employees receive the same or nearly the same percentage increases each year, and that employees and managers who subscribe to the entitlement philosophy believe that individuals who have worked another year are entitled to a raise in base pay, and all incentives and benefit programs should continue and be increased regardless of changing industry or economic condition. Commonly, in organizations following an entitlement philosophy, pay increases are referred to as a cost of living raises, whether or not they are tied specifically to economic indicators. Following an entitlement philosophy ultimately means that as employees continue their employment lives, employer cost increases regardless of employee performance or other organizational competitive pressures. Market comparison tend to be made with an industry rather than more broadly, considering compensation in firms of all types. Bonuses in many entitlement-oriented organizations are determined very paternalistically and often do not reflect on operating result. Instead, the CEO or owner acts as a Santa Claus at the end of the year, passing out bonus checks that generally do not vary from year to year. Therefore, employees expect to receive the bonuses as another form of entitlement. So, for entitlement, parang across the board yan. Everyone should be given. Okay? Aside from entitlement orientation, we have also what we call performance orientation. So, kabaliktaran naman nito ng entitlement. So, where a performance-oriented philosophy is followed, no one is guaranteed compensation for just adding another year to organizational service. Instead, pay and incentives are based on performance differences among employees. So, if you are not performing well, if you are not able to reach or target a certain goal or objective na binigay sa iyo ng organization, then you're not able to receive performance orientation. Okay? Ayan, eto nga. Employees who perform well will get larger compensation increases, and those who do not perform or satisfactorily receive little or no increase in compensation. Thus, employees who perform satisfactorily should keep up or advance in relation to a broad view of labor market for the job, whereas poor or marginal performers should fall behind. Bonuses are paid based on individual or group and or organizational performance result. Few organizations are totally performance-oriented in all facets of their compensation practices, so we need to consider that. However, breaking the entitlement model is increasingly occurring in the organizational restructuring common through many industries. A study of public sector HR manager found that there is a desire and need to shift towards more performance-oriented compensation practices in many public sector organizations. So how fast that occurs given the historical traditions and the strength of public sector unions remains to be Yon yung dalawang compensation philosophy. So, entitlement orientation or performance orientation. So, always remember that the pay that an employee received from his employer is the primary reason for his being on his job. The employee works for a living. The pay received by the employee provides him with a strong incentive to do his job. The employee's rate of pay determines his status in the company. The pay determines the employee's standard of living, the comfort that he and his family have, and his standing in the community. The pay determines the employee's contribution to the community development and social welfare. Also, the pay determines the employee's purchasing power. So the higher your salary is, or the higher your wage is, of course, mas madami kang mabibili. Okay? Meaning, higher pay leads to also a higher production. So let's move on with the general types of compensation. So compensation management is one of the most challenging human resource areas because it contains many elements and has a far-reaching effect on the organizational goals. So the purpose of providing compensation is to, again, attract, retain, and motivate employee. So there are two main types of financial compensation. We have the direct and indirect financial compensation. So direct financial compensation is the pay that our workers receive, including wages, salaries, and commission. Other than that, salary refers to the income paid to an individual, not based on time, but based on performance. It is usually given to professional and managerial employees or those who are performing white-collar jobs. Whereas, no wage, if wage, okay, um, wage refers to the hourly compensation paid to the skilled and unskilled workers or those performing blue-collar jobs with time as the basis for the compensation. Okay, so again, the salary, it's based on performance. Ni wage is more likely of your hourly compensation is based on your time. Okay? In addition to that, a salary compensates an individual for his overall contribution to the organization's performance. So that is how we differentiate these two. So in your direct compensation or direct financial compensation, it encompasses employees' wages and salaries and that of incentives, bonuses, and commission. For indirect financial compensation, it comprises the many benefits supplied by employers, and non-financial compensation includes employee recognition programs, rewarding jobs, and flexible work hours to accommodate personal needs. Okay, for your indirect. Indirect compensation may also include the quality of work life. The indirect financial reward may also include organizational culture. Pag sinabi nating organizational culture, these are the norms and values defining appropriate behavior in the organization. So, na-mention na natin yan during our earlier discussion at the organizational culture. And one of the single most important cultural expectations we encounter today is your employees' confidence in business and its leaders. So, quality of leadership and supervision are also defining elements of culture. And this is and also intrinsic value can also be considered as part of indirect financial compensation. And these rewards come from the act of performing. Among such outcomes are how interesting one's work is, the degree of variety experience, the degree of autonomy and control over one's work, ano pa, the significance of work to the business and the customers. Again, itong mga concept na ito na-discuss na natin when we had our job design. So career opportunities may also be included as indirect compensation. Career opportunities refers to the prospect for development and growth. For organizations naman, career represents the most efficient way to grow the talent they will need to complete. While for employees, careers represents valued opportunities to grow and achieve professional and occupational goals. So let us now look also at what incentives are. Okay, I know that this is not new concept to you anymore. From time to time, naririnig nyo what is incentive. So, incentive are paid in addition to wages and salaries and are called payments by result. Again, they are also called as payment by result. Incentives depend upon the productivity, sales, profit, or cost reduction efforts. There are individuals incentive schemes and group incentives program also. And pag sinabing individual incentives, these are applicable to specific employee performance where a given task demands or group efforts for completion. Incentives are paid to the group as a whole. So, no individual, of course, individual mo nga ma-receive yung incentive. No by group, group din ninyong ma-receive yung effort or yung try or reward ng effort na ginawa ninyo. Okay, so the amount is later divided among groups members on an equitable basis. So, agpapada. Next is your fringe benefits. These are monetary benefits provided to employees. They include the benefit of a provident fund, gratuity, medical care, what else? Hospitalization payment, accident relief, health and group insurance, subsidized canteen facilities, recreational facilities, and provision of uniforms to employees, and many among similar. Okay? Another is your non-monetary benefit. So your non-monetary benefit, these benefits gives psychological satisfaction to employees even when the financial benefits is not available. Such benefits are recognition of merit through certificates, offering challenging job responsibilities, promoting growth prospect, comfortable working conditions, competent supervision, and job sharing, and of course, flexi time. This is an example of your non-monetary benefit. Okay? Now let us discuss the main components of compensation. So rewards can be both intrinsic and extrinsic. So intrinsic rewards often include praise for completing a project or meeting some performance objective. Other psychological and social effect of compensation reflects the intrinsic type of rewards. For your extrinsic rewards, these are tangible, having the form of both monetary and non-monetary rewards. With the direct type of compensation, the employer provides monetary rewards. Another component of compensation is your base pay. Base pay and variable pay are the most common forms of direct compensation. Indirect compensation commonly consists of employees' benefit. So, do you know what base pay is? So, pag sinabing base pay, it is the basic compensation that an employer receives usually as a wage or a salary. Many organizations use two base pay categories. We have hourly and salaried. Again, na-mention naman na natin kanina yung salaried. And which are identified according to the way pay is distributed and the nature of the job. Hourly pay is the most common means of payment based on time, and that employees who are paid hourly are said to receive wages, which are payments directly calculated on the amount of time. In contrast, people who are paid salary receive payments that are consistent from period to period despite the number of hours worked. Being salaried typically has carried higher status for employees than being paid by a wage. Okay? Some organizations have switched to an all-salaried approach with their manufacturing and clerical employees in order to create a greater sense of loyalty and organizational commitment. However, they still must pay overtime to a certain employee in which job covered by federal and state pay laws. We also have what we call variable pay. So another type of direct pay is variable pay, which is compensation linked directly to performance accomplishment. The most common types of variable pay for most employees are bonuses and incentive program payments. So for executives, it is common to have a longer-term reward such as stock options. Lastly, benefits to complete the components of compensation. So many organizations provide numerous extrinsic rewards in an indirect manner. With indirect compensation, employees receive the tangible value of the rewards without receiving the actual cash. So a benefit is an indirect reward such as health insurance, vacation pay, or retirement pension given to an employee or a group of employees as part of their organizational membership. We need to remember that benefits are supplemental compensation that employees receive aside from direct wages or incentive pay. These are not substitute for wage or salaries. Remember, these are not substitute for wages or salaries. These benefits represents labor cost over and above straight time earnings. They are granted to employees to provide them with facilities and assistance and are either voluntarily granted by the company and or part of the collective bargaining agreement or required by law. So they are given to employees regardless of differences in individuals' performance. So that is benefit. So let's proceed to the rule of employee benefit. So the rule of employee benefit as part of the total compensation paid to employees' benefits serve functions similar to pay. Benefits contribute to again attracting, retaining, and motivating employees. So the variety of possible benefits also helps employer tailor their compensation to the kind of employee they need, and that different employees look for different types of benefit also, and that employers need to examine their benefit packages regularly to see whether they meet the needs of today. So, kailangan mo siyang i-review from time to time kasi nga nag-iiba naman yung composition ng employees mo. Okay, so baka digitay existing benefits mo itatan may not be applicable to this group of employees na you have because again they are millennial, they are Gen Z, or they have different generations na. So at the same time, benefits packages are more complex than pay structure. So benefits are harder to employees to understand and of course appreciate. So even if employers spend large sums on benefits, if employees do not understand how to use them or why they are valuable, the cost of benefits will be largely wasted. Employers need to communicate effectively so that the benefits succeed in motivating employees. So, hanlang nga basta agaramid-aramid ka iti benefit. Okay? Dapat it's applicable and kailangan talaga nila yan para hindi masayang. Again, we should not wasting our resources. So the principles governing employee benefits. So as you can see, the benefits should have mutual value to the employer and the employee. This means that whenever the employer spends an amount for benefits, you should receive something of value or it should have received something of value in return. Yun nga yung sinabi ko kanina, if you are going to give benefit, you need to make it sure na may value yung benefit na yan sa mga employees mo. Kasi again, sayang naman. So the benefit should not interfere with the operation of the business. So the cost of the benefit must be calculated its financing within the capability of the firm. The benefit must be capable of being uniformly and equitably administered. The benefit should be based on something measurable. Employees should take part in the administration of certain employee benefit programs, and that employees must be made aware of the cost of employee benefits para ma-appreciate nila. Okay? Next, the types of employee benefits and services. So we have economic and financial benefits, health and medical services, we have professional services, at the same time, services for employees, family welfare, and convenience. So if if we talk about economic or financial benefits, these are intended to provide financial assistance to the employees and to their families, especially in times of sickness, accident, old age, and unemployment. So this include, ano kaya yung mga possible na example? So this include a Christmas bonus and or bonuses, extra production and incentive bonus, insurance, retirement, and of course pension plan. Okay? Or those provided by Social Security laws and mutual benefit association, saving and loan facility, credit union, and many other more. Next is your recreational, social, and athletic services. So the recreational, social, and athletic program aims to provide employees with opportunities for the fruitful use of their leisure hours. So athletic, recreational, and social activities also create a friendly personality, the informal relations among employee, professional services such as employee education and vocational guidance, employee counseling, legal aid, what else? Tax aid, are rendered to the employees by the professional staff. So this is done because employees generally cannot afford to pay for these services acquired or services outside. So instead of them going outside kasi nga hanggang mo't ma-afford, maybe you can offer it to them. We have also on counseling or under service, we have counseling as a means of communicating with employees that has been found to be effective and maintaining mutual understanding between the management and the employee. We have also educational and self-development. So the educational and self-development of the employee is often an important concern of many firms. Services for employees, family welfare and convenience. Some companies provide a certain services for the welfare and convenience of the families of the employees, such as health, medical services, commissary, housing, etc., etc. So those are the types of employee benefits and services. Let's proceed with the major factors affecting compensation. So first, we discuss the internal factors. So the internal factors exist within the organization and influence the pay structure of the company. So these are the following. So we have here the ability to pay, prosperous or big companies. Ability to pay, business strategy, job evaluation and performance appraisal, and employee. So let's take a look at first on the ability to pay. So prosperous or big companies can pay higher compensation as compared to the competing firm, whereas smaller companies can afford to maintain their pay scale up to the level of competing firms or sometimes even below the industry standard. We have next is your business strategy. The organization strategy also influences employees' compensation. In case the company wants skilled workers to outshine the competitor, it will offer more pay as compared to others. Whereas if the company wants to go smooth and is managing with the available workers, it will give relatively less pay or equivalent to what others are paying. We have job evaluation and performance appraisal. So the job evaluation helps to have satisfactory differentiate or differential pays for their or for the different jobs. So the performance appraisal helps an employee to earn extra based on his or her performance. And last is your employee. So the employee or workers himself influences the compensation in one of the following ways. One, of course, is performance. So the better performance fetches more pay, of course, for the employee. And thus, with the increased compensation, they get motivated and perform their job more efficiently. Anapay, we have, aside from performance, your experience. So as the employee devotes years in the organization, he or she expects to get an increased pay for his experience. Another, potential. So the potential is worthless if gets unnoticed. Therefore, companies pay extra to employees with better potential compared to others. So 2 years from now, if you're able to, or if you chooses to be employed, yan, concentrate ka dito. Next, the external factors also. Let's proceed with that. So external factors are factors that exist out of the organization, but of course do have an effect to the employee compensation in one or the other way. So these factors are follows. One, your labor market. So when we say labor market, is the demand for and the supply for labor also influences employee compensation. So low wages are given in cases where demand is less than the supply of labor, while high pay is fixed when demand exceeds supply. Another external factor affecting compensation is your prevailing pay rates. So compensation is decided based on the rate prevailing in the industry. Okay. The amount the amount other firms are paying for the same kind of work. We have also productivity. So productivity compensation increases with increased production. So to earn more, workers need to work on efficiencies, which can be improved by factors beyond their control. Your new technology, new methods, and other management techniques are some of the factors that may result in better employee performance, thereby enhancing productivity. We have also external factor, cost of living. So the cost of living index also influences employee compensation in a way that, paano, with the increase or fall in the general price level and the consumer price index, wages or salaries are to be varied accordingly. Last two, we have labor unions. So powerful labor unions influence the compensation plan of the company. Labor unions are generally formed in cases where demand is more and labor supply is less, or it involves dangerous work, demanding more money for endangering their lives. So non-unionized companies enjoy more freedom with respect to fixing the compensation plan. With regards to labor unions, we will going to discuss that in your labor in your last chapter, which is your labor standards and labor relations, including ito, labor law. So several laws are passed by the government to safeguarding workers from exploitation. Acts like the Payment of Wages Act, the Minimum Wage Act, the Payment of Bonus Act, the Equal Remuneration Act, Payment of Gratuity Act, and others are passed for labor welfare, and employers must abide by this. So pag sinabing labor law or pag sinabing law, employer must follow, must adhere to sa mga ganyan. So these are the several internal and external factors that decide the amount of compensation to be given to the workers for the work done by them. Another important concept we need to know in managing compensation and benefit is your job evaluation. So job evaluation is a complicated but important process in achieving pay equality. So job evaluation, by its definition, refers to a systematic comparison done to determine the worth of one job relative to another. So the basic procedure is to compare the content of jobs in relation to another, like in terms of their effort, responsibility, and skills. The goal of job evaluation is to compare jobs with each other to create a pay structure that is fair, equitable, and consistent for everyone. This ensures that everyone is paid, or rather, It ensures that everyone is paid their worth and that different jobs have different entry and performance requirements. So that is job evaluation. So let's proceed with your conventional job evaluation methods. Conventional job evaluation methods, meron tayo dyang ranking method. Okay? We have position classification or grade description, point system, and factor comparison method. So when we say ranking method, it is the process of evaluating jobs by comparing them with others to determine whether it is higher, lower, or the same rank. It is based on overall judgment of skill, effort, responsibility, and working conditions relative to the job. In ranking method, it evaluates, of course, ranking. Okay, each job relative to all other jobs, and usually based on overall difficulty rather than on a number of compensable factor. Next is position classification or grade description method. It is a process of grouping jobs by comparing each job against a rating scale comprising several job grades to ascertain the grade to which each job appropriately belongs. For point system, this method evaluates the job by appraising it separately against each other of factor or characteristics such as skill, effort, responsibility, and working conditions, and adding up to the corresponding points values to arrive at a single point score for a job. This method uses a series of rating scales, one for each of the major factors, which their subdivision chosen as important in terms of the position. And last is your factor comparison method. Your factor used in so this method requires that each job be compared and ranked with other job to compare and rank with the other jobs under each separate factor. So there's are your usually five factors used in comparing jobs, such as your skill, your mental, your physical efforts, working conditions, and responsibility. So there you have it, the overview of compensation and benefits that organizations know that attracting and keeping quality employees requires providing the right compensation and benefit package. Compensation includes wage, salary, bonuses, and commission structure. And so employers shouldn't ignore the benefits portion of the employee compensation because the benefits sweeten employment contracts with the priorities that most employees need. Having the right compensation and benefit policies and packages is a must for organization if they want to attract top talent, increase employee motivation, boost employee loyalty, and increase productivity and profitability. So that's it. That is our discussion on compensation and benefits. Thank you all for listening. Till next time, goodbye.